Mr. Korombi. Third is Mr. Netengwe. And fourth is Mr. Mbokana. If I can inform the committee, for Bawa is MS O'Connor TNA. I don't know what is that. It's not very clear. And the judgment was 2015. Korombi, the adverse judgment is on a home loan. Netengwe, the judgment is Capricorn High School. Capricorn High School, there is a judgment. Doesn't say what it is. Mr. Mbokane, he has 4 adverse judgments. Nedbank, Standard Bank, Vodacom, ABSA. In relation to Mbokane, there is did you get everything? Mr. Mbokane conducted the secretary of the committee to say he's going to email the letter from the banks and Vodacom. It's quite a lot of money, but he said, sorry, he didn't do that, but he will communicate the letter. So otherwise, the rest, there is no judgment. Oh, okay. Mr. Manaka Matumo, the report says, according to CIU information, the following candidates have criminal records. Fingerprints should be submitted to verify the records. Mr. Manaka Matumo and Gladys Netengwe. Is the same Netengwe whom I reported, the doctor. So both of them have criminal records. What I reported first was just judgments in terms of the banks and everything else. So that's the report from SSA. The report is very confidential, state security report. So I'm raising it so that members, when they are taking a decision, they are aware what is going on about them. Okay, I've raised the issue of the program for today, starting with MDDA, but also there are those issues that I raised from the report of the SSA. The report that I haven't received yet is the qualifications check. As you know, all these things were submitted to the institution. They are taking a very, very long time to come back to us. There are those, there are very few, I can't remember how many, but they are where they are done, but the rest not on the qualifications check. Members, that is it. I'm in your hands in relation to the program, to the people that have reported. Can I start with Honorable Ndoze?
Chairperson, I propose that in light of the fact that it could be really confusing to have the deliberations about the SABC later, I propose that we attempt to agree on the 12 names now. We have 7 candidates, all of which could be done by, at least in relation to this program, 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. And the last flights out are around 9 o'clock to Johannesburg at least. My proposal is that let's attempt, and then if we can't find each other in 60 minutes, because I assume that we're going to prioritize logic in the ways in which we debate. If we do so, we should be able to find each other in 60 minutes. If we can't find each other in 60 minutes, then let's do the interviews, but we would have made some progress. After the interviews, then go again to the SABC. That's my proposal. I don't see, I don't get a sense that we're going to spend a humongous amount of time on the 12 names. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Does the proposal that we delay the interviews and attend to the deliberations for an hour, Honorable Van Dam?
Thanks, Chair. I agree with deliberations up front. I think while the interviews are still fresh in our minds, I'd like to, in addition, propose that when we do our deliberations, we do it in a very open manner. So each candidate that any member of the committee puts forward must be motivated, and we should be allowed to motivate against candidates that any other member of the committee proposes. And then about the list that you just read, just to be clear, that's the SABC Board candidates that we interviewed. Sorry, I couldn't catch all the names. If you wouldn't mind either making the report available to us or just reading them again. Because the reason why I'm asking, in terms of the Broadcasting Act, it doesn't necessarily disqualify people who have adverse civil judgments. For example, if you owe the bank or whatever. So I think we just need to be careful that we don't disadvantage people on that basis. It does disqualify people, however, that have been criminally convicted. So not necessarily for civil matters. So we just need to be sure that we don't open ourselves up to, yeah. We don't open.
Okay.
So that we don't open ourselves up to challenge, you know, that someone would disqualify them on the fact that they had a traffic fine or the Capitec or whatever. Thanks, Chair.
It supported the starting with SABC deliberations.
Yes, Chair, we support that position, starting with the SABC.
Yeah, I think all members agree that we start with the SABC.
And then that's one part. There's a second part raised by Pumzile, that of the candidates. When we put them, we motivate, demotivate. That's what she's proposing. When we put the guide, that's the openness of the thing, which she's saying. I don't have problem.
That's
I don't have problem.
That's. I think everything in relation to the deliberations on SABC candidates, motivation, demotivating a candidate, all that is agreed. Insofar as the SSA report, what do you do with the SSA report? Do we circulate the SSA report? Honorable Kalak?
Or the one you are reporting to us. No, I think it can be, because members of parliament are sown in people. In as long they won't be malicious, it can be circulated amongst us, not so that we are not blamed, not the media, so that we are not blamed. That way, you said it's a security information. That was, but I think if we can be guided on that, I don't see any problem being two members.
Who is it on, Chair? Sorry.
Okay, Honorable Ndosi.
Yeah. Who's the Secret Service report on? Which name?
The report is on all of them, but there are those who have criminal records and those who owe banks.
Chair, maybe just to interrupt, my apologies. For the sake of time, I think it's fair if it's going to have a bearing on our deliberations that we circulate it to honorable members. The security in Dondon should have indicated if it is something that we can't know. It doesn't look to me that it is, that it's something that we can't deliberate on. But if there's a criminal record on anybody, we would want to be taken into confidence, as opposed to just being told, you know. So I think it's fair to circulate the report. But for now, whilst they are printing it, just tell us where is the criminal record, where is the bank charges. I mean, if you're owing bank charges or a traffic fine, that type of thing. If we can be clear where is where, whilst we print the report.
All right. The report says state security confidential. If I can say that pre-employment screening was conducted on the following. First, I'll read those who have nothing, so that we are clear. Is that fine? Baki Nomvuiso, nothing. I wrong on that. No, it's everybody. The report is about everybody who were screened. But insofar as Mr. Manaka Matumo, Cedric, there are criminal records. They have not stated anything. They say, according to CIU information, the following candidates have criminal records. Manaka Matumo, Netengwe Tidziambi Gladys. So it's criminal records, nothing further than that. And then the candidates are confirmed as South African citizens with the exception of Mr. Bauer, who has a South African permanent residence permit, but is a German citizen. Confidential. The following candidates have negative records, credit records. Can you listen, members? The following candidates have negative credit records. Mr. Bauer, as I said, MS O'Connor TNA. Mr. Korombi, Standard Bank, home loan. Netengwe, Capricorn High School, it's a judgment. Ukorombi is adverse. Ubawa is judgment. Umbokane, it's Netbank, adverse. Standard, adverse. Vodacom, adverse. APSA, adverse. That's how the report goes. They say, please note that in terms of a cabinet-approved memorandum, all pre-employment screening personnel suitable checks are expected to be conducted by the organs of state. To this end, you are referred to the instruction from the Department of Public Service and Administration. Please feel free to contact us should you have any queries. That's how the report goes. It talks about the names and the judgment and adverse and all of that. It's the banks. Yes, Honorable Ndlozi.
Chairperson, do you know what adverse means?
Go ahead.
I don't know these capitalist terminologies. What does adverse mean? Adverse credit, what are those things? When it's adverse, does it mean the candidate is beyond repair? What is it? From all South African banks except Capitec, it seems.
Yes.
There was bar for the citizenship issue, I missed that one.
Exactly what we discussed.
But what does it mean?
He is the
Does it-
permanent resident. He is not a citizen, he's a German citizen.
Oh, so in other words, it says he was not even supposed to have been
Yes.
part of the process. Okay, nice.
Adverse. Yes. I don't know. Googlisha ke Tegas. Here is Google. In the case of student loans, Yole, adverse credit history has a very specific meaning. It means that you have a 90-day delinquency on any debt or that you have experienced a specific adverse credit within the last within the last 5 years, such as a bankruptcy, repossession, or tax lien. It's just that it's something that we came and we never engaged as to what it means from the state security agents. But it's a very serious matter. I mean, talking from the reports of departments, if it's an adverse from the Auditor General, it's a very serious matter. I don't. Yes, Honorable Doza.
No, thanks, Chairperson. My proposal is that we proceed with the deliberations. I think the report is sufficiently clear.
The other thing that I jumped, it says, according to CIU information, the following candidates have criminal records. Fingerprints should be submitted to verify the records. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, Fanaland. I think we must proceed. Yes.
Chair, I want us to proceed also. Is there, my worry is if we can be clarified, is there anything which guides us? Whether it's an act, regulation, or on people with credit, who are in credit bureau, because that's a major problem. Don't want to exactly what you were saying, with disadvantaged people here, they challenge and we lose. Especially those, it's different from a criminal record. It's
Can we get someone to advise us on this from the state security? Because the report that came late last night, I was not able to check all those things. Is it not better to get someone just to advise us what it means? Honorable Madisha and Van Dam?
Yeah, I think there is a problem, Chair, and it will be proper for us to do some check. There are two things. Number one, you have indicated there that there are persons who are purported to be having some criminal records, but then their fingerprints have got to be submitted, which then says that you still have a problem there. The report is not clear. I think that is a problem. It means the report itself is not, it's not complete. And secondly, you therefore cannot charge or make a completion of the whole thing, particularly regarding those particular persons, on the basis of the whole thing. But secondly, you know, this point of people having credit records, etc., and they therefore having to be excluded, that to me is a problem. I mean, we need to understand the situation in our country, that very many people have not been working, we have a problem. And that truly is a problem. And I think we need to consider that. And that has got to be put aside, unless if a person, as a result of that kind of thing, has gone out to steal, kill, or whatever. I think we need to consider that truly. Thank you.
Can you start with the interviews at 11? Because the more we deliberate on this, at least they must be informed. Inform them. We'll start around 11. Honorable Van Dam, your hand was up.
Thanks, Chair. I think we must just be guided by the Broadcasting Act. And 16.1 of the Broadcasting Act just lists the kind of individuals that are disqualified from serving on the SABC board. One, it's someone who's not a citizen or not permanently resident in South Africa, is subject to an order of a competent court declaring such person to be mentally ill or disordered. C, is convicted after the commencement of this act, whether in the Republic or elsewhere, of any offense for which such a person is sentenced to imprisonment without the option of a fine. So it clearly says only after the commencement of the act. So if it's an offense before, it might not necessarily be covered by the act. And then it says, at any date prior to the commencement of this act, was convicted or at any other time after commencement of theft, fraud, forgery, uttering a forged document, perjury, in contravention of the Prevention of Corruption Act, and also the Prevention of Combating of Corrupt Activities Act. And then also says elsewhere of any offense corresponding materially with any offense referred to in subparagraph 1. So I think we must I want us to make sure that we carry out this process properly so that we're not challenged in court for disqualifying a person without sticking to the letter of the Broadcasting Act. Of course, we can also make a value judgment if it's a credit matter. I mean, if we must judge it on a case-by-case basis. If it's a major issue, then they're disqualified. But as Honorable Madisha says, if it's a minor infringement, I don't think we should disqualify people on that basis.
Yeah, I think that's fine, members. Kongobela?
Maybe the word disqualify could be a deciding word. And if I understood Honorable Van Dam, is that the committee has a discretion. Even if legally you are qualified, the committee can, in looking at your total picture, agree that it is not comfortable to take your name. So I think those are two levels.
I think what is acceptable is that we stick to the Broadcasting Act because it clarifies. If you go to your book, but this one is the old one. If you go to page 35, section 16, on the old one, this one. If you go there, then it will inform us everything. What it means now, we must start deliberations. I think we agree on that one. Members? Maybe we need to hear from members. There were discussions. There were discussions. There were not necessarily negotiations. I think that's what members said last time. Consultation. And maybe we need to hear from the African National Congress. So we have to do this. Generally, we talk to members of the committee, but in this case now we'll have to hear the parties, what they say. Are you ready, Honorable Kalako? Who wants to start?
Chair, we're just asking for 5 minutes. Just
Oh,
to-
okay.
Yes.
Okay, can we adjourn for 5 minutes and then come back so that we have a smooth proceeding? Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll have to come back at 10 past 10. Mr. Ngoma, can you check Honorable Madisha? Legas. Oh, yes, yes. Bega that. Sorry, sorry. Oh. Okay, all right. Oh, Madisha. I was checking the, the gentleman who got sick the other day from Right to Know. They say he's better now. He was in the meeting even yesterday and is coming today again. Apparently, it was his second attack. He was attacked for the first time, and that one was the second attack. So he's okay. He's fine. Members, thank you very much. We political parties and engage in deliberations. Can I hear Honorable Kalako first?
Thank you, Chair.
And then come to the SP.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we moved as the ANC from our principal agreement on the interim board that all of us, we were satisfied the way they have handled their work under pressure and the achievements they have so far. So as ANC, we want to confirm that our candidates of the 12 is Kanyisile Kweyama, Matata Tsedu, Krishna Idu, Phoebe Potgieter, John Matheson. Then added to that, Nomvuyiso Bhaji, Rachel Kalidas, Michael Markovits, Bongumusa Makatini, oh, I got to Makatini in business. Sorry, Makatini. Sorry. Dingwanyane Muhuba. How many? And Victor Rambao. So we are proposing those names, Chair, from the ANC for the 12th of the board. Okay.
From the beginning.
Is it 11?
No, there are 12, including Mukuba. Do you have Mukuba?
Muhuba.
Mukuba.
Victor Rambao is there. Mbokana is there. Yes. Kosana Mbokana. So, okay. It's besides the board, ne? We have Nomvuyiso Bhaji, Rachel Kalidas, Kosana Mbokane, Michael Makovitz, Bungumusa Makatini, Tinkwa Nyane Muhuba, and then Victor Rambao.
Are you ready, DA?
Thanks, Chair. Let me upfront say that the people we have chosen are people that fulfill the skill set in terms of the Broadcasting Act. So we've made sure that it covers the broad kind of skills that the Act says the board should cover, which is broadcasting policy, labor and social issues, media law, communications, and so forth. And then we're also going to be quite strong against the deployment of individuals who are intensely involved in the ruling party. We don't have an issue with people who are involved in the ANC, for example, in the struggle against apartheid. As Honorable Gungubele said, there were lots of people who were involved in the struggle against apartheid, but what we are going to be against is people who are intricately involved in the ANC. So our list is Govan Sami, Leanne Govan Sami, Nomvuyiso Bachi, Victor Rambao, Michael Sass, John Mattison, Jack Palane, Rachel Kalidas, Jack Devnarain, Matata Tsedu, Michael Markovitz, Kanyisile Koyama, and William Curry. Do I need to repeat, honorable members? Have you got them? Okay. Leanne Govan Sami, Nomvuyiso Bachi, Victor Rambao, Michael Sass, John Mattison, Jack Palane, Rachel Kalidas, Jack Devnarain, Matata Tsedu, Michael Markovitz, Kanyisile Koyama, and Mr. William Curry. Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Dose.
Thanks, Chairperson. Just for a sense of opening comments, that overall, the shortlist failed. It's an acknowledgement that I think we must make collectively to either the shortlist, but I think in my view, the entire collective of 300-some CVs. But also in the shortlist, we didn't have a lot of women, particularly qualified, articulate, experienced women. That is a big problem, because it means that we are indeed in the final 12, might have to be caught up in a situation where it's dominated by men than women. So I would hope that there is still a commitment in that regard, that a chairperson position, although it's not in our power directly, be reserved for a woman. The women that did get shortlisted were very strong, some of them, but others were unable to make the cut as a result of either qualifications, and this morning we had some of the problems legally. So here, and I think I want to emphasize as well that it looks like, in general, the Saudi legacy is such that it seemed like everybody thought, I can do this, you know, I can be in the board. We must impress that the SABC is an important institution, and people have to go through the eye of the needle. I think the work of the committee in interviews has tried to make sure that that is the case. So number 1, Kanyisile Kweyama. Number 2, Matata Tsedu. Number 3, Dingwenyane Muhuba. Number 4, Michael Markovitz. Number 5, Jack Palani. Number 6, Nomvuyo Baki. Number 7, Victor Rambau. Number 8, Rachel Kalidas.
Honorable Dos, we are too, we are too fast, man. Think of Tsedi. We are too fast for Tsedi.
Number 1, Kanyisile Kweyama. Number 2, Matata Tsedu. Number 3, Dingwenyane Muhuba. Number 4, Michael Markovitz. Number 5, Jack Palani. Number 6, Nomvuyiso Baki. Number 7, Victor Rambau. Number 8, with reservations, Rachel Kalidas. Chairperson, we want to strongly dispute the names of Phoebe Potgieter and Krish Naidu. I don't know if the chairperson would want my indulgence, your indulgence rather, in motivation in that regard, but...
Yeah, we agreed.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
I think that of all candidates that came here, I have no doubt of the qualifications of these 2 names. I do not doubt at all it is not about their membership of the ANC. In relation to Phoebe Potgieter, she failed dismally to understand the times and the epoch that the SABC is entering, in relation in particular to where it has been. She failed because she thinks it is correct to be an ANC deployee into the board. She was explicit about it, more explicit than anyone else. And then the second problem is that she seems to say, I will only get out of the board of the SABC if I am elected into the NEC of the ANC. She explicitly says that, which means she sees the conflict of interest ethically in her own assessment if she holds both positions. But I put it to the committee that it is even more dangerous to be in the board prior to being in the NEC, because she could be seen to be using the SABC to campaign towards that position. It would have been honorable from the very ethical logic to finish this ambition. She's a politician, she's an outright politician. She's not an ANC member who is a professional. She's a politician. She sees herself as a politician in the at least the language that is much more clear. It's not about her membership or her background in the struggle. It's that she's ambitious of being a politician. She wants to be in the NEC. She's just waiting for nominations. Now, the problem is that, let us say that she's elected into the NEC. Then we're going to have an opening in the next 4 months. Then we have to redo the process. She's an unstable candidate. If she is elected, why should we take the SABC through that? That's on Phoebe Potgieter. And then the Krish Naidu. I don't know about his membership of the ANC, but I was unsatisfied in explicit terms. He went to ask for permission and explicitly says, you know, the people in the Lutuli house said to me, I must come and see how I can help to rebuild the SABC. I find that problematic as well. We all have preferred and strong candidates and so on and so forth. But none should be taking a mandate. Even some of the people here who have been involved in the struggle, who are members of the ANC, were very clear that I have not even spoken to any leader. I was nominated and I want to be put here on the basis of my nomination. Yes, I have been active in the ANC. And really, I don't have a problem. Often, I mean, I grew up with the consciousness of the ANC, for crying out loud. There are great men and women in the ANC. There are great men and women who support the ANC. We disagree politically, but you cannot get that wrong with the problems that have characterized the SABC. On those bases, we vehemently disagree with these two names. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Honorable Ndoze. Mr. Madish.
Thank you, Chairperson. Permit me to indicate that the persons who came were quite good, well prepared, and it, in my opinion, is a very good indication that we have people in South Africa who can be able to take us forward. From the number of more than 600 to this 12 that we're coming up with now, it's an indication truly that we do have people who can take us forward. The names that we will propose that we agree to are the first, the previous board, of course, but one person, and a number of others. Let me go back to the names then. I'll say Michael Markovich. We have William Curry. Bangumu Samakatini. Michael Sass. Jim Matsu.
Can you repeat that, Honorable Madish? After Kalidas.
No. This is.
Sorry. After SAS.
No, this is wrong. The thing. No, that's a wrong thing. After Michael Sass. Kitomege. Kiwelem Rao. All right. I don't think the chairperson here understands what you're saying. Okay. He says that I must go back.
We have Makatini, Kari, Markovich, Kari, Makatini, Sass.
Kari. We have Sass. Muhuba. Govensami. Matata Tsedu. Krishnaidu. John Matheson. Kanyisilo Kwayama. I'm just checking that I'm not repeating some of the names. How many have I given you, Chair?
10, you gave us 10.
I'm checking that I'm.
Whilst he's still checking, it's Markovits, Kari, Makatini, Sas,
Smakovic,
Mohuba.
Skari,
Govensami, Tsedu, Naidu, Matheson, Kweyama. I've said it.
Smakovic, it's Kari, it's
We're short of 2.
I gave you Makatini, Sas. Did I give you Muhuba? Okay.
Govensami, you gave us.
Govensami,
Tsedu, you gave us.
Tata Tsedu Krishnaidu,
Naidu, Matheson, Kweyama.
Matheson, Kweyama, Jack Patlani,
Palane,
Patlani.
it's Palane.
Apel natural spedi no bicha maina ka mogolong ra sona. Ke Palane. O go kwele re. How many names do you have there? And then Did I give you Herod Mayer? No. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Any objection on the board?
Agreed.
The entire board?
Yes.
But you gave us 4 members of the board, interim board, with the exception of Phoebe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, members, there you are. There you are. Mr. Tsedi, not Tsedu, Tsedi.
Tsedu.
It's not Tseju, it's Tseli. Oh. I think, Honorable Chair, before we proceed to the next stage, surely you can allow us to engage on some of the issues as raised about some of the candidates. And I wanted to speak on candidate Potgieter as objected by one of the honorable members. I don't know if it's only at this stage where one can speak and engage on a demotivation. Because there are 2 issues at hand.
Do you want to do that, or we line up those who agree first and say these?
Yeah, with your advice.
Okay.
With your advice,
I thought it would be necessary to just line up those who agree and say, at least on those, there are so many, we agree on them, and then come back to the engagement.
No, I don't have a problem.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you, Honorable Vanda?
Thanks, Chair. I think that for the ones we agree on, can it be ones that there's agreement across honorable members? I think it's a bit stricter than with the shortlist, where maybe if there was agreement of 2, it was fine. I think here, let's let's put aside the ones that we all agree on, and then the rest we must motivate and demotivate.
I thought. Members, we agree on Kwayama. We agree on Sedu. We agree on Baji. No. With the interim, ne? We agree with Mattison. No, we don't. AFF doesn't have Mattison. Let's start with the board. Kwayama Sedu on the board. And that is all. Yes. I'm starting with the board, Honorable Ndos.
Oh, agreed,
the board.
yes. Absolutely.
Okay. We agree on Markovits. All of us. This is 1, 2, 3. No, we're dealing with those we agree, all of us. The names that appear. In fact, only 2 where we agree.
Oh,
It's Kwayama and Sedu. Otherwise, the rest, other parties don't have the board members. They don't have Mattison, they don't have Krish, they don't have Phoebe.
wow.
Ne? And then we agree with Mattison, all of us.
Yeah?
I'm sorry, on Markovits. It's Markovich. We agree with Markovich. Those are the only 3, eh? No. Smaller parties don't have Baji. No. Smaller parties, not. Baji agreed ANC, DA, and EFF. But no smaller party. Kalidas,
You need to be,
ANC, DA,
you need to be
EFF.
slow because
What do you mean?
this is too serious a job. We need to make sure that everything is okay. Baki, yes. Okay. Am I adding? No.
So Baji,
Not.
it's agreed. Comrade Matisha, you agree with Baji?
Corporate Chairperson, let's wait. When we talk, we'll come back to that. Okay.
We stand at 3. Common names is only 3. Only 3 across. It's Kwayama, Tsedu, and Bakovits. Yeah. Is it not proper to? Because I have a difficulty there. It looks like Honorable Madisha he wants to do some more work. Am I right?
And it was in these papers. Yeah. You are saying? Let me take your point, Chairperson.
more time to do work.
If I were to say yes,
We'll then break for 5 minutes.
that will assist me. Yes,
Because
thank
I
you
think
very
it's
much.
necessary that, so that now that we have a picture,
Yeah,
and then the members can talk to themselves.
thank you very
5 minutes
much.
break.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now go back to our discussion. We're still struggling with names. We have only 3 names where we agree, all of us, in terms of the lists. 3 names emerge in all lists. Honorable Madisha was to go do some work, and thereafter we'll hear the ANC response on the issue of Potgieter and Krishnaidu. And then we take it from there. If Honorable Madisha, you are ready, we can start with you, but if not, we can go to
Thank you very much.
Are you fine? Okay.
Yes. You know, you usually say SP, meaning at the end, parties. And what one really needs to do is to consult and get that which they believe should be the proper names. Hence, one had to go and recheck and check what the majority of them say we should put before you. Okay, here are the names. Liam Govensami, Matata Tseidu, Krishnaidu, Kanyisile Goyama, Nomvuyiso Babaji, Rachel Kalidas, Michael Markovich, William Curry, Victor Rambau, Pongumu Samakatini, Jack Palani, Dingwanya Nemuhuwa, and then William Adisha. That's the list. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Okay. So the names are Markovits, Kari, Makatini, Muhuba, Govensami, Tsedu, Naidu, Kweyama, Palane, Baki, Kalidas, and Rambao.
Yes,
that- Thank you very much, Honorable Madisha.
but you forgot William Adisha at the end.
How many?
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
So they've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 names that appear in each party. It's Markovits, Tsedu, Koyama, Baki, Kalidas, and Rambao. Markovits, Tsedu, Koyama, Baki, Kalidas, Rambao. So all that 6, it's agreed. Now, can we then go to ANC on the Krishnaidu and Phoebe Potgieter Qubule?
Thank you, Chairperson. I think one wants to take this opportunity to appreciate that the matter is put on the table, probably for genuine intention to engage. Just on record to remind ourselves that on Phoebe Potgieter, we're talking of somebody who has served society in various instances. Amongst others, as we talk, a board of the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflections, the African Alliance think tank, also having been a deputy chairperson of the State Information Technology Agency, SITA, a member of the Council of Mangosuthu University of Technology. Long history in the civic society with regard to youth development, and somebody as we speak who's holding a master's degree from University of Witwatersrand. Krish himself has got an undisputed track record in the sports sector since the years of apartheid. Many initiatives that he took directed to societal interest irrespective of political affiliation. And he's received awards and acknowledgements for a number of times in doing that. That Krish, as we speak, is a legal graduate, P-Proct being an area, and having certificate in strategic studies from England. Now, these people I'm speaking about are not just academically qualified. They have got a track record in society, and both of them have served in the interim board. We have not heard of any negative view about their performance within the interim board that society, whose work it appreciates. Krish in particular is known for having stood up, even in the previous boards, to deal with issues that are iniquitous. But I want to close by saying, as the ANC, one of the things that are critical is that we envisage in future a mature democracy where South Africanness will prevail over ideological partisanship. And people who demonstrate their ability to be South African whenever they are called upon to do so, that should be rewarded. And I view that there are no better people to be acknowledged for that purpose than these two, because at all material times, when they were expected to serve South Africa beyond partisanship, they have not failed that test. Thanks.
Yeah, that was a response to the demotivation of Mr. Naidu and Mrs. Kobole. We have had the demotivation. We have had the motivation from the African National Congress. I will not allow that we engage more than this, because I think in terms of motivation and demotivation, I don't think it will be fair, because we'll continue if we do that. DA demotivated, EFF demotivated, and then there is a response from the ANC. Do we think we must proceed in that manner, Honorable? Just to proceed, not necessarily arguing anything. Honorable Van Dam.
Chair, I hate to be this person, but I'm going to anyway. I hate to be this person, but I'm going to anyway. This is why we had set aside yesterday, and we'll set aside several hours for deliberations, because this is how important this process is. We need to thoroughly engage with every nominee, motivate, demotivate, so we make sure that we give names to the National Assembly of board candidates that are going to be quality. So I'm not going to support us not engaging further. We need to do this thoroughly.
All right. No, that's fine. Honorable Ndlozi?
Engaging means you must engage with someone. So it's not about you talking alone. If the NC wants these people, I have nothing further to say, personally, and from the EFF point of view. We totally reject these two names, and there's nothing else to say to the ANC. There's nothing else to engage on these two names. Their argument in response is also very poor because it doesn't address the central concerns that we have raised. So it looks like they're cast in stone. I wouldn't want to waste the people's time. I think that let us hear those are the only two names I think fundamentally must not be there. But if Honorable Van Dam says we must reopen it, for what? To say what? If he thinks he can change the mind of our comrades, that should have happened by now. We broke for about an hour. So I don't want to waste the people's time. I would say that let us give the NC an opportunity to give us their final list, go to the DA, come to us, and then come to the smaller parties, see if we can agree and move on. There has been, I don't think the people of South Africa doubt this, there has been thorough engagement. But if I had a veto, maybe in the future, Honorable Davis was telling me, in the future we should have veto. I could have vetoed those two names, particularly because the ANC has not said anything in relation to our criticism. They're just telling us, oh, they've been around. So that is where we are. But the people of South Africa cannot be, it can't be, we want to disassociate ourselves that just because we are not engaging for 5 hours, it doesn't mean we are not engaging. There's been a thorough persuasion, there's been a thorough criticism, and our assessment is that it was failed to be responded to. And the comrades of the ANC know. Now, in terms of moving forward, Chair, as I said, let's get, maybe they've removed them, I don't know. What is their final names? And then we sort of see how do we proceed.
Yeah, I know that we're talking to South Africans. That is why it's important from the community point of view to move in the premise that says, yes, clear demotivation, and very clear, in my view, motivation from the African National Congress. And I don't think that will change. I agree with you, Honorable Ndlozi. I don't think it will change anything. I agree that let's go back to the list so that we don't waste time. I'm not sure there will be any persuasion from anybody. Honorable Talasha.
Chairperson, risking a situation where, as we are responding to your question, we'll engage on the discussion, either demotivating or motivating. Let's agree on this summary that says, this is democracy at work. There might not be more persuasion on the names. Let's agree on that one. Let's proceed, because we're risking of being personal sometimes, Chairperson, and we don't want to get to that kind of a situation. So I think let's agree to say the people that are not happy, they have their reasons. The people that are happy, they've got their own reasons. Let's proceed, Chair. What must be more of importance to us is commonalities. Thanks, Chairperson.
You remember that we need only 6 names now. We agree with the 6 already. All these parties agree on the 6 names. We want 6 names to make 12. And what the point that says we must listen to the parties again, for me it's important so that we can go back and revise, and if we agree with those who have many names, we do that. Remember, from the list, you have a number of names where 3 parties agree, and then look at that as the parties, so that we just reduce the discussions on those. And if I can, no, I don't understand this. If I can again go back to the ANC to start, or if you want to start Honorable Laws, it's fine. If you can say ANC, just look at your list again, take into consideration the 6 that we have agreed upon, all of us. Who's going to do that, Honorable Kalako? Are you going to do it?
Chair, before that, I wanted Chair to, because as we move with the name, to clear this, the things surrounding Mbokane.
Okay.
So that is on record of what was this and what do we have in front of us now and what we do not have. Because it's going to help us in the process that.
No, much as we discuss this Mbokane issue, we have NetBank, we have Standard Bank, we have Vodacom, we have ABSA. There is one letter that relates to Standard Bank judgment. That one is clearing Mbokane. I mean, yes, that one is clearing Mbokane. We are now left with 3 institutions, meaning Vodacom, NetBank, and ABSA. So that's where we don't know, but this one of Standard Bank says he's cleared on that one, but 3 are still to come. The secretary has been in touch with him. He's going from this bank to another to check his status. And that status will come at a particular stage when he finalizes it with the 3 institutions, Vodacom, NetBank, and ABSA. That is insofar as Mbokana is concerned. It's one of the people who have judgments. Is that understood? Honorable Kalako.
Yeah, Chair, it's understood. So the dilemma we are in, although I raised earlier that according to the Act, but we can make a call, a judgment of how do we see it as a committee. See, the predicament he's putting us in is that in these ones we have nothing in front of us talking about him. Well, it happens that because the importance of SABC, when you go in there, I'm sure he knew that. You have all these things which can be asked or can have something against your name. You clear them up front, especially this. So the problem where we don't know how big are these amounts which are alleged he actually, and SABC, the problem is got this reputation. I don't want to find myself in a situation we put a person in the board because of his performance. We come back within a month, we must advertise. We look stupid. I think he could have helped us, really, Chair, to actually make it easy for the committee that these things are cleared. We cannot take them lightly. Just as we know the problem of South Africans. We are not judging people according to that, but The problem is we don't know what was the nature, how big they are, and it's 3 banks and Vodacom.
The SSA report is circulated to members as requested, and the amounts are reflected there. But it must end up with Honorable Ndosi and Honorable Matisha. It must not go beyond them. It must not go. Oh yes, Honorable Ndosi didn't take it. Honorable Ndosi didn't take it. He accepted what I was reporting. So it must not go anywhere beyond the members. The figures are in front of you, members. They are not small figures. Honorable Ndosi.
Chairperson, let us try and help here. It's the information availed to us which does not, in terms of law, disqualify him. But Honorable Galaga is right. We have to make a judgment call. So I would persuade all of us to not be stuck here, that those are the facts. So whoever is putting forth that name ought to know that they are putting it with those holes. And they perhaps have to motivate as a result, that we are being brought this information, that this person has had this particular type of conduct, these particular type of experiences or circumstances. Why would we put him in a board? No matter how good they are. So it will have to be on the base of a person who feels strong about that name. But I just wanted to affirm Honorable Kalak that is precisely what it means. It means a judgment call on the part of those who are persuaded by that name. Thank you.
Honorable Van Dam, and then I'll
Chair, I'd like to suggest that we proceed. We've got 6 more names to fill on the list, the 6 we agree on. Can each party give their names, and then, but differently this time, each person must must motivate why a specific person is being insisted upon.
Madisha?
You know,
May also talk to what Honorable Van Dam is saying.
you know, that the person that we spoke about just now did not mention this kind of problems that he faced before. When we said they must declare, that is a problem. And you therefore can't respect such a person. You can't say that in future they will be able to serve the people properly because they've not declared. It means he has hidden the information from us. He knew that yes, indeed, he had those kind of problems. I think that is the first point. Now, on the second one, us having now to go and say 111 and motivate, I wonder if that is going to be proper. I truly, in my own opinion, don't believe so. I would not able to talk to each other. I'm very happy that we have been able to move in unison as a team throughout, and I would propose, Comrade Davis, that we do same, okay? So that we don't have that kind of a problem altogether. I mean, as I end, I remember you came to us and said, can we say here, 2, 3, say here, because you are BP, say here, 2, say here, because you're this and so on. Is it not feasible for us to do that? so that we don't waste time. Remember, we have MDDA and so on. We still have got to go through that. We are one team.
Ya
Thank you.
ngiyawuzwa. Ngiyawukwishisha.
Akuyaleboga Sibata.
Yebo.
Waungwa yuhali.
Let us finalize the name. I'll give the people who nominated or the people who came with the name, so that we close this issue of the name of Mbokane. Teddy.
Chair, I think let's move to the next stage. Surely, quite a number of issues have been raised about some of the people, but if the parties were to be given the opportunity to present their new names, I think we can be very closer to each other in one way or another. Then we'll take it from there. Maybe let's agree with the approach that you have suggested earlier, that parties be allowed now to present new names, the final list according to them as of now, and see where we still have difficulties.
Let's do that. ANC? We are on 6 names now. We've already agreed on 6.
We agreed on 6. Can you, those names were agreed on?
It's we agreed on Markovits, we agreed on Tsedu, we agreed on Kweyama, agreed on Baji, Kalidas, and Rambau. Markovits, Tsedu, Kweyama, Baji, Kalidas, Rambau.
Well, okay, Chair, whilst we agree with those, so where our 6 is Phoebe Potgieter, Chris Naidu, John Matheson, Markovits is in.
Can I remind your names, or earlier names? Let me remind you the names. Yes. The whole 12, ne? Including those.
13, yeah. That, Tisaqhubeka. Bongumusa Makhathini, and then the last one, Palane.
Those names are 5.
That's 5.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
I said, let me start. I said,
Hold, protect, and defend.
Chris Naidu, John Matheson, Bongumusa Makhathini,
Yeah.
and then Palane. Still 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 5 still. Which other names?
I wanted to remind you the names. I wanted to remind you the names you gave us.
Yes, first. Kula 12 yam.
You
Because
gave us Kweyama. Let's do that so that you gave us Kweyama, Tsedu, Naidu, Phoebe, Matheson, Baki, Kalidas, Markovits, Makhathini, Mohuba, Rambau, and Bokane. That's what you gave us. Mohuba. That's the 6th name. Or can you say the sixth name? Use your mic.
The sixth name is Tikwanyane Muhuba. That's the sixth one.
Let's go to the DA. Can I remind you your names, or you still have them? Okay.
Chair, so we agree on the common 6 names. In addition, we believe that the following 6 candidates must be included. Leanne Govinsamy.
Govinsamy.
Yes. Jack Palane.
Palane.
Jack Devnarain.
Devnarain.
Michael Sass.
Sass.
William Curry.
Curry,
William
yes.
Curry, yes, William Curry.
1,
And
2, 3, 4, 5.
Mattison.
Mattison.
So can I say that with the ANC's current list, we agree with Palane and Mattison?
Yes. Are you lining that so that those we are common, the common ones just okay? Can you go to you, Honorable Loze?
Chairperson, we have indicated our strongest disagreements to Phoebe Potgieter and I. We need not repeat ourselves.
Yes.
Otherwise, the ANC list, with the exception of those names, is in order.
Okay. Honorable Madisha?
The names that the ANC came up with, we agree. But Potgieter, we don't agree. Govinsamy, I can't remember if they added that. They will be first. Have they? Govinsamy, Palane, Kari, Muhuba, and Makatini. Okay. So,
Govinsamy, Muhuba,
Kari,
Kari,
Makatini, and oh yes, Rambau, yeah.
and Rambau.
Yeah.
So it's Kari, Makatini, Muhuba, Govinsamy, Rambau, 5.
Did you add Mattison
Oh yes,
there?
Mattison.
Yes.
I6. Okay.
Okay.
So Fernando, common names? Palane, Mattison, are they not common to all of us? Wait. Let's. Palane, it's all agreed. Mattison, all agreed. No. SP Madisha is Mattison. Can I read Madisha's names? It's Kari, Mbo, Makatini, Muhuba, Govinsamy, Mattison, and Rambau. So from we have 2 common names, plus 6 Sifunai, right? Now the problem is 4. Teddy?
Chair,
Who this think Umuhoba is not? Umuhoba is SP, EFF, and ANC. No, not DA.
My understanding, Chair, was obviously if Muhuba now is from the ANC, EFF, and SP, that name comes in. That's what I was listening. That I think we're at a stage where from the ANC list, we have Govensami and SALS, those that are not on the ANC list. Maybe let's agree, because my take is that we are almost there. Maybe let's allow 5 more minutes to see if we can convince each other. Because now we're at a stage where we have only 2 names that are not on the ANC list, Govensami and SALS. Maybe you can come back after some few
Look,
minutes. and
Mohuba
convince.
is ANC, EFF, smaller parties, no DA. DA doesn't have Mohuba. Exactly, they are the only ones, we are right there. They don't have that name. Honorable Ndoze, way forward.
I think, well, I'm not opposed to 5 minutes, but we broke for an hour earlier on. I'm welcoming to the 5 minutes if we're going to persuade each other differently. Because the emphasis is being placed elsewhere than to the problematic names. And the only reason I would go to a break is to persuade the ANC to withdraw Naidu and Potgieter. 5 minutes. There's 6 of them, of the ANC members of parliament who have each have sworn an oath of office to the parliament. I'm welcoming to 5 minutes in order to persuade them on those 2 names for the best interest of, so that South Africans know that in addition to the 3 days in which we've been talking to each other, we've been conducting these interviews, maybe 5 more minutes for them to change their minds on those 2 names. Otherwise, there's no point to the 5 minutes. So that's the condition of which I will welcome the 5 minutes. Thank you.
Honorable Kalako and Tolashe.
Chair, I think that is a problem. We are not going to change on those names. It's a waste. Don't waste your time at all, because you are not going to persuade us. We had an hour. It's like, for instance, there are DA names here, Osas, Devnerian, and who? Govensami. So, which we also do not agree. And DA is not persuaded. Finally, Chair, in any case, we're in Parliament. This thing is going to, if go in those names which we feel strongly, I think we'll have to go to a vote. It's up to you. Look, because that on those names were not persuaded at all. And we have reasons, they have been put here. It can't be because it's a perception that FEP is an ANC strong, have been in the leadership where and therefore, while she was serving in the interim, these things were not there. And she has not done anything in any case which can be pointed to what the allegations were. Similarly with Krish, the fact that Krish just clearly declared that, look, I had to go back because I'm consulting, that's my work, that's my income, so that there's no conflict of interest. And then you want to distort it as reporting and going to ask for a permission, which is untrue. Chris actually explained that. I'm not going to agree with that, Chair. It's not going to happen. They must forget. I'm not going to agree with that. because it's only based that, you know, their ANC is working well, then once we take it into that. It's like Phoebe was clear here, that if she's not even nominated, and she even said that she's not even, nobody approached her, she will consider that. And in fact, she said she can't, if she serves in the ANC, NEC, and even at the official level, be still in the board. She said herself, then there is conflict. Otherwise, if Phoebe is an independent woman, why do you reduce her to some puppet? No, we won't agree. It's a waste of time. We don't agree with 5 minutes in otherwise, or even a minute.
Okay. Mam Tolash, you had it.
I Chairperson kulazime khona. Zime lapho Chairperson, because as parties we have discussed these matters, we have dealt with candidate by candidate. I don't think these gimmicks that we are being called to do are going to assist anyway. In this democracy, we'll agree, but there'll be time when we agree to disagree. And that time has come. And let it be, Chairperson. Let's go for vote. We have persuaded it. We have gone a very long way. Very, very smooth discussions, consultations. Even now, I don't think there are any hostilities here, Chairperson. Let's proceed so that we can conclude and go to MDDA, Chairperson. I thought we were going to look more. And my worry is there's a target of 2. That's why I was calling for us going back to what we agreed on, because we are risking a situation where we're going to be personal and confuse things here, because, Chairperson, there's nothing wrong with being ANC. In fact, we must appreciate that at some point the ANC came and salvaged the country, and we are where we are today because of the ANC. You can't sit here as the committee and start to find mistakes from the ANC and judge ANC people, South Africans who want to still serve because that at some point they belong to the ANC. They even gave us a long lecture to say, there's nothing wrong, and indeed, there's nothing wrong, Chairperson. We should not be seen like people who want to punish people's involvement in their different political organizations, because there are no facts for what we are saying. Let's agree to say this is where it stands. Let's proceed, Chairperson. Let's go for vote. Thanks.
Maybe let's not pursue the matter further. Krish Naidu and Phoebe Potgieter, ANC is not moving on those names. I really don't think we must discuss that further. I don't think we must discuss that further. Let's come up with something else to take the meeting forward. Mr. Davis, let's hear the new voice. And then Honorable Ndlozi.
Thank you, Chair. The ANC, obviously, it's in their interest to go to a vote because they want to use their majority to get their candidates onto the board. I think it's very unfortunate. You know, the key problem at the SABC over the last decade has been cadre deployment from the ANC. Now, Krish Naidu is currently working at Luthuli House. This is not somebody who's previously worked for the ANC or previously been a member. He is currently employed at Luthuli House.
I don't think it's
Chair,
correct.
I'm going to move us forward. Just let me say my piece.
No, it's not correct. It's not correct to do that. We agree there was a demotivation.
Chair, I'm going to take us forward if you just let me finish.
No, I'll let you finish, but I want to say this to you. There was a demotivation, very clear demotivation. Now we're at a point where the ANC is clear that they won't move.
Yes.
And therefore there is nothing to discuss in
Chair,
relation to
let me
No, I'm
register.
going to give you.
Okay.
There is nothing to discuss in relation to the 2 names from the ANC. Nothing. They are very clear on that. No persuasion, nothing. I just want to alert you that this discussion of demotivating the two was done. And the ANC was here, they responded, they are not moving. So that we proceed with the meeting. We have people who are waiting to be interviewed outside. But it's fine, let's do that. Mr. Davis?
So, Chair, what I would like to do is I would just like to acknowledge the ANC's choice, and I'd like to register our objection. And I think it's important that we are allowed as a party to register our objection to these two candidates.
But that was done.
No, that was a demotivation process.
That was done.
Chair, I'm about to accept the ANC's will to impose their majority on this committee, but I want to say on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, we oppose the deployment of political operatives into the SABC because we think that that is at the heart of the SABC's problem. Krish Naidu is currently working at Luthuli House. It is a conflict of interest. Ms. Potgieter is considering running for the NEC of the ANC. If she decides to then do that and then resign from the SABC, it means we've wasted our time by nominating her to the board. If she doesn't resign from the SABC, it's even a bigger problem because there will be a serious conflict of interest to have an ANC NEC member who's also an SABC board member. But we accept that the ANC wants to impose the will of the majority onto us because that's how the ANC operates. And that's why the SABC is in the crisis it is in. And if the ANC wants to take responsibility for that, then so be it. But we object to these two candidates.
Some members want to listen to themselves. Because what is said now was said. I wish there can be new issues. Honorable Matisha?
Permit me to propose that we take that ANC list. We agree, but then it comes back to us as the portfolio committee and to Parliament to ensure that we actualize that which the people of South Africa say should be the case. The name of Phoebe, for example, was rejected by us, but then we say that we agree, let's go on and make sure that we finalize the situation. So we'll take that.
Ndozi, and then I'll come to you to summarize it. Honorable Ndozi?
That's fine. Chairperson, I don't think it's wrong to be repetitive. I would have hoped that the chairperson would indulge us to register this. It's really difficult to swallow a majoritarian decision on this one in relation to those two names. It's not wrong, it's not unconstitutional or illegal, but please register as well on our part. We've already said that. But my interest now is, can you read actually the final list? Because I want to consciously, what I heard as a final list, as far as I am concerned, can you read that so that we can be able to know exactly where we are? The names of Naidu and Potgieter are exhausted. Yeah. But can you just say what are the 12 names we are now finally discussing?
All of us agree on Markovits. All of us agree on Matata Tsedu. Agree on Kweyama.
No, Chair. I wanted to hear I know the agreements. I want to hear the final, or do you have it of the?
You mean the final 12 from? Come on, I want to understand that question. Oh, okay. Can I give you the names from the ANC? Put, it's just only 6. Huh?
Proposed, Chair, is that now that we have debated, parties have articulated their final positions.
Maybe the ANC must give us the names.
Yes. You start with the interim board and whatever.
Chair, our final name, we said it's Phoebe Potgieter, Chris Naidu, Krisha, Koyama, yeah, yes, medicine, Tsedu, that 5. Then we have Bachi, Kalidas, Makovitz, Bongumusa Makatini, Rambau, not Rambau. Yeah, Rambau, and Mahuba and Palane.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. No, this is 7. This is 12. This is 12.
12.
Proposed by the ANC. No, it's 12. Bongumusa.
Yes. Just to clarify.
The 5 plus 7.
Yeah.
So this is 12.
I
Let's read the whole list. Already 5 plus 7.
Honorable Kalak was reading was Kweyama, Tsedu, Naidu, Phoebe, Fort Potgieter, Mattison. Then Bachi, Kalidas, Makovitz, Makatini, Palane, Mohuba, and Rambau. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's 12. Yes, you're right. That's the 12.
because I earlier on, Comrade Chair, because this is very, very important. I earlier on wanted to clarify one particular issue because it should be on record. The impression that is being created that the ANC is imposing a list is wrong. So it should be on record. When we started, we gave each other 2 sessions for engagements. In the process, we have convinced each other along the line. So it should be on record. I was just wanted to clarify that particular issue, that the ANC came to this meeting to impose a list. We never imposed, we persuaded each other until where we are, because we could not convince each other further.
I had Lozi. I had Lozi first. Or Lozi? Okay. Kungubel and then Van Dam.
No, I thought it's also important, Chair, that recently in the past couple of months, is the first time, if we vote today, that we're going to. We have taken difficult decisions here together with the opposition. And I want to send this message that it is important that whatever hatred people have for the ANC, at least tell the truth about the ANC. I'm saying since last year, as early as August, if I'm right, to date, we have not voted. So I'm saying who have taken difficult decisions. I understand Member Davis has not been around, right? Maybe he didn't get the report back from the members who are representing DA here. So let's go on record. That has not happened here.
Honorable Van Dam,
Proposing a way forward. Facts are facts. The ANC is refusing to budge on Phoebe Potgieter and Krish Naidu. They are doing so on the basis that they have a majority of number of votes on this committee, and they are using that to impose those two names. We have indeed thus far always conducted ourselves with consensus. Can you stop heckling me? We have always conducted ourselves with consensus that is correct, and this is the first time, and it is really disappointing, that the ANC is using their majority to force through Phoebe Potgieter and Krish Naidu. They have said they will not move on that, so if it has to come down to a vote, let's vote on it. Now, what about, let's move forward. The remaining two, are they insisting on the remaining two of the list? Or is that still open for discussion as we always do in this committee? Or those other two, are they also going to insist that it's from their list? So let's move forward. The two they insist on, what about the other two?
angazi ukukhuluma ngani manje. Can you explain the remaining two that you're talking
Okay, so
about?
there's 8 we agree on. We need to have 12 names. So there's 4 remaining slots on the list. The 2 the ANC is refusing to budge on take it to 10, which means there is 2 more names still outstanding. So I want to be clear from the
Let's
ANC.
do this. Let's do
Let me
this.
finish, Chair, let me finish, Chair. So I want to be clear from the ANC whether the remaining 4 slots, they want to take all of them, or are they just insistent on Naidu and Phoebe and Potgieter?
Imagame, we have listened to the 12 of the ANC. Can I have the 12 of the DA?
So I'm going to speak to the 4 that are remaining on the list. Ne? The 4 slots that are remaining on the list. And our names are Govind Sami. We do not have enough women on this list. Govind Sami gave a great interview. She is a bit young, but I don't think we should use her youth as a disadvantage. She works for Corruption Watch and has great experience conducting forensic investigations, and I think that's a skill we need very much on this board, and we need more women. So Govind Sami. We'd like to propose SAS. SAS is a CA. I think we can't have, we already have one CA. It doesn't matter if we have a second one. The SABC is facing serious financial issues, and I think if we have a lot of experience in that regard, it won't be a waste, it won't be one too many. Devnarian, I think one of the requirements in the Broadcasting Act is that we include people with experience in labor issues. I believe Jack Devnarian made a solid case here that he will make sure that the voice of not only artists is represented on the SABC board, but also other staff. So I think we need to make sure that there's someone there from labor. And William Curry. I think William Curry brings a lot of experience in the sector, and I think could be a great addition to the board.
All right. Your names, Honorable Lose?
Chairperson, we've already indicated, we've assessed, and with the exception of the 2 names of Phoebe Potgieter and Naidu, those are the names we should be negotiating, not the rest. So we're fine. We agree with the exception of those 2. And that's it.
Muhuba appears on ANC list, EFF list, and smaller party list. we are not considering that DA. Okay. Honorable Tsedi.
I think we must move towards closure because even that debate is taking us back, really. Because you have given us the final list. They've said they insist that they have reservations around some of the names. We are equally not convinced on the names that she has just read. And that's where we are. You have given us the final list, and that's where we are. I was checking our final list here. We have made compromises already as well. That's why I was stressing earlier on, it is wrong to create an impression that we came here to impose a list. We have compromised as well on one or two there from the list that is now being finalized.
We are left with 4 names, eh? We are left with 4. We agree on 8. Now, we need to agree on this last 4.
Chair.
Kalako?
No, Chair. I was going to say, Chair, it's not going to work, Chair. This thing, Ubanuti, we agree. It's not going to happen that you agree with all these names. Especially on this 4 who don't agree. Use another mechanism. Yes, I don't know, but we won't agree.
You want to vote on the 4. At least we have done some work up to 8. Now we need to vote
Chair.
on the 4. Yes, Honorable Dos.
I don't agree that we should vote. Yeah, I don't see the point. Because we avoided doing name and name and name and name and name. We will have to consider the other names that have been put in place. You've got a consensus, you've got a majority that is not moving. That's what the vote is. So I'm not comfortable with when we get to the House can vote, can be divided to vote on the names that are in dispute. So that is what we are saying. We are comfortable with the rest of the names except the 2, because it is where the emphasis of this committee should be. It should be on the names of the people who explicitly said they are part and parcel and are coming. Once we close that one, which you have seen it has been closed, why must I vote? So I don't agree that we must be held at ransom like that. Let's proceed and continue to entertain the MDDA. That's what we have to say.
Here, you say we must proceed?
Chairperson, yeah, that is my view. Let us proceed. This merry-go-around doesn't help. We've broken for many times. I'm appealing to your indulgence. We've broken so many times. We're not finding each other. And we've heard people say these names are now where we stand. We're not willing to negotiate and what. And we've asked so many times, are you willing to know? They are not willing. So I don't see the point from where I'm standing. The people of South Africa have observed themselves. They know what has occurred. We are willing to proceed without voting, because we don't see the point of voting. We'll divide the House, not here.
My understanding, Honorable Laws will correct me. My understanding, what he's saying, we don't need to go to a technical process of voting. He moved from a point that the majority view is clear in the committee, but parties can register their objections in whichever way they do, and then we move. That's how I understand him.
Mahuba is only DA that is object, but that has no Mahuba in their list. Can you put Mahuba as number 9? Anyway, let's put Mahuba as number 9 because he appears on 3, on 1, 2, 3 years. The next one. Palana is in already. Kalidas is in. Naidu and Krish. Naidu and Phoebe. One left. There is Govin Sami and Sas. Govin Sami, Sas and Kari. No on those ones. I'm looking at the nominations. They have 2 nominations. Govin Sami and Sas have 2 nominations.
Comrade Chair, with
I'm
your permission.
I'm moving
We
on what Comrade Lozi was saying. The weight is here. Which name appears 3 times?
Let me clarify, Comrade Chair. What we have here in front of us, it's a list as initially proposed by the ANC, with the inclusion of Palane, the removal of and Bokan. That's where we are. The removal of Bokan. Now Palane was not initially on the ANC list. Now it's in, and then Bokane is now out. Yes, that's where we are. So we have stated it very categorically so that we are not convinced, at no given stage we will be convinced of Govin Sami, Sas, Devon Rain, and Kari. That's where we are. And we have agreed with them that we will state their objections on the names that they insist on objecting. That's where we are. So in other words, we have 12 names as proposed with the exclusion of Bokan, as proposed by the ANC. We were persuaded as well to drop a name and bring in a new name as well.
Honorable Talash.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you. I think that's what Honorable Ndlozi raised and Honorable Gungubele supported. I think that's where we are, Chairperson. And Chairperson, we should note the fact that this exercise did not start now. We are coming a long way when we're establishing an interim board. So some names might allege to be coming from ANC and stuff, but there's been a very coherent process that we have just embarked on. That we embarked on from the... So, Honorable Chairperson, let's proceed.
Honorable Deputies, after you have spoken, I'm going to read you the 12. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I think that there is an opportunity for us now to try and reach some consensus, some element of consensus here. Because if the ANC just imposes the next 4 names, then I think it's going to be an unsatisfactory outcome for all of us. Because we're not all going to feel as invested in the board as we could
Sir,
be.
can we correct that?
So Chair, may I finish, please?
Can we correct that? No, let's correct that. No. Yeah, but he's wrong.
Yes, but let him finish.
You've also been wrong. We'll let you speak.
You can correct me when it's your turn. I'm absolutely
You'll
open
come
to
back.
that.
You'll come back after he has spoken.
Chair, I would just like to propose if we could have 5 minutes with the ANC just to talk and to, for a last attempt to reach some consensus before we come back. If we could just have 5 minutes. I think it's worth it. It's worth trying. Let's try it.
Gungubele?
No. I think I'm happy there's no hostility in the meeting. Just that's disagreement on issues. You see, I think the facts must be corrected. Honorable Davis says ANC is imposing 4. You've already articulated that in that 4, 2 is agreed by other parties except TA. So you cannot say ANC is imposing 4. And also a misnomer. If we say 8 is agreed upon, it means that 8 belong to all of us. You cannot say TA does not have names, these are ANC names. If 8 is agreed by all of us, it means all of us, we share 8. That 8 belongs to the TA, belongs to all of us. So let's articulate this thing very correctly. That's the point I'm making, on factual basis now. Member Van Dam understands what I'm saying.
Give you your names. Can I give you your names, Honorable Tolas?
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. I really want to appeal to the committee to allow the 5 minutes break, the very last one. However, Chairperson, I don't think it will be correct for DA to come here, put the fight. When they don't succeed, they throw their toys. When they really now consider the fact that they're not going to win, they go back in wanting to negotiate. I don't think it's correct, Chairperson. Let me appeal to the committee, to the ANC in particular, to allow this last 5 minutes, because this is what we have always been doing. I want to appeal. But this thing of using the fact that you are open for negotiation and want to really embark into this process in a more democratic and more uniting manner, I don't think it should be exploited. It should not be exploited, Chairperson. It's very difficult for all of us who want to achieve a situation where we'll see a board that will be able to move forward. But this thing, Chairperson, of show your toys, then you realize you don't have numbers, then again you come back in wanting to reason. It's so wrong, Chairperson. It's very wrong. It should be condemned here and now. Thank you. If DA is genuine to say we want to make sure...
Go and talk, members. Go and
Chair,
talk, members.
Chair,
We'll come back
Chairperson,
after
we...
lunch.
No, we...
Keep your points. We'll come back after lunch.
Chairperson, can I speak?
There are 3 hands. 3. There are 3. No, there are 3 hands. There are 3 hands. All these hands will come back and speak after lunch. Go and do your work, because it's very clear we didn't do it.
Chairperson.
Okay, let me start. I'll give all of you.
Chair, since
But
Honorable-
after that, there will be a break.
No problem,
So
Chair.
that you can talk.
Sure, I'm happy. Let's talk, but let's make a point very clear that the ANC claims to have compromised. They've made absolutely zero compromise, because their list, as they propose now, is exactly the same as the original list. So compromise, they have absolutely not. And let us hope during deliberations, they will be compromised, because they haven't thus far compromised at all.
Now,
Is it- and then
Chairperson,
what
I don't agree with the 5 minutes of... I think we have to close this matter, because we can't waste time. You see...
Please, members, just
Can I-
listen
can
to
I-
one another.
I'm not persuaded by Honorable... because what we are being asked to go negotiate is not the names that matter. It's not... I mean, we have to move on to the MDDA. Let's not waste the people's time. We have zigzagged around this matter. That is where we are. And there's not going to be a difference when we come back.
Okay.
So, Chairperson, with all due respect, it is not true that there has not been large agreements on a majority of names. It's not true. We are hard-headed on the deployees of the ANC. During the breaks on several occasions, the ANC said they won't move. That is where the negotiations should go. So if you go out and you're negotiating people who qualify, who deserve to be there, I don't understand. It's a contradiction in terms. So if that's not what we are negotiating, which they have said since Friday, by the way, they have been on this position since Friday. Let us close this matter, do justice to this thing, and move on. We'll divide the House. The MDDA interviews are 7. I don't want to complain by putting other programs, which are not programs that we have to report to the House tomorrow. We have to finish the MDDA interviews. Some of us have court cases as well to bring Zumaye to, Babaga Duduzane to come and be accountable for breaking the law. We've got a whole lot of things. I don't want to break because over and over and over again, the ANC doesn't want to move on its deployees. So what do you want us to go and do? I vehemently disagree. We must come back, close this matter, and deal with the MDDA with discipline.
Madisha, Baba.
No, you see, may I use the word comrades? Okay, the title. And say the comrades from the ANC are out of order. You see, that's what he does even before I can speak. He doesn't know what I'm going to say. It is out of order. You are frustrating the chairperson, and as a result of that, he's unable to move. Then, honorable members, you see, the way in which you are coming in, attacking, doing all those kind of things, like the other last two members have said, I mean, from the side of the ANC, that was wrong. You don't just attack like that. We have moved together through and through. We have compromised through and through from the beginning. It's not only in terms of this, what we are going through at the moment. We have done this on very many occasions. And now, as the ANC, that we are making it extremely difficult. Now, it is not even necessary for us to break again, to go and negotiate. Let's agree. We're finalized. We have those particular names. We have had some amongst us have said we are not happy. However, let us move forward. But then the other honorable members, for them to attack others, and even saying from other opposition parties, I think you are wrong. We shouldn't go on like that. Please close it, Chairperson.
Okay. Can I read you the names? Markovits, Michael Markovits, Matata Tsedu, Kanyisi Lekweyama, Nomvuiso Baki, Rachel Kalidas, Rambao, I can't remember the first name. But Victor Rambao. First name of Palane? Jack Palane. John Mattison. Khalima Mohuba. Tinkwanyane. Khalima Mohuba. Krish Naidu. Phoebe Potgieter Kubule, Bongumusa Makatini. And if you like, I can tell you where these names originate from in terms of the parties. And this will neg alone, but looking at that, all of us, our names are here. Can we break for lunch? Oh, we need to... We need to, because this is SABC. After reading the names, there is a report that we must adopt so that we take it to Parliament. Can the Secretary read the report? So that when we do MDDA and the report, we just proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is the final report of the Portfolio Committee on Communications on the appointment of the Board of the South African Broadcasting Corporation, dated 5 September 2017. The Portfolio Committee on Communications, having considered the resolution of the National Assembly to dissolve the SABC Board, reports as follows. On 5 October 2016, the committee resolved that an inquiry into the fitness of the SABC Board to hold office in terms of Section 15A of the Broadcasting Act number 4 of 1999 was necessary. Subsequent to the resolution of the committee, the National Assembly established an ad hoc committee on the SABC Board inquiry to inquire inter alia into the fitness of the SABC Board to discharge its duties as described in the Broadcasting Act number 4 of 1999 and any other applicable legislation. The ad hoc committee on the SABC Board inquiry recommended to the National Assembly that the SABC Board be dissolved and that an interim board be appointed. On 7 March 2017, the National Assembly adopted the recommendation of the ad hoc committee. On 14 March 2017, the committee deliberated on the names and recommended to the National Assembly that the following candidates be recommended for appointment to the interim board of the SABC: Mr. John Mattison, Mr. Matata Tsedu, Mrs. Phoebe Potgieter Qubule, Miss Kanyisile Kweyama, and Mr. Krish Naidu. Furthermore, the committee recommended that Ms. Kweyama be appointed chairperson and Mr. Tsedu be appointed deputy chairperson of the interim board of the SABC. The interim board would serve for a period of 6 months as per the Broadcasting Act 4 of 1999. On 2 June 2017, the committee published an advert calling for persons to be nominated to serve on the SABC board. The advert closed on 30 June 2017 and the committee received 41 nominations. After a process of elimination of applicants who had not responded to the advertisement, the committee was left with 363 nominations to consider for shortlisting. The committee met on 15 August 2017 to discuss the shortlisting process. The committee agreed that 36 candidates would be shortlisted and interviewed. On 22 August 2017, the committee deliberated and agreed that the following 36 candidates be shortlisted: Mr. Matata Tsedu, Mr. Krish Naidu, Ms. Kanyisile Kweyama, Mr. John Mattison, Mrs. Phoebe Potgieter Qubule, Ms. Nomvuyiso Bachi, Ms. Rachel Kalidas, Mr. Tabiso Ratsumu, Mr. Rufus Zuguda Karija, Mr. Michael Markovitz, Mr. William Curry, Mr. Sandy Lekama, Dr. Dina Dylan Kona, Ms. Harriet Meyer, Ms. Dawn Epp, Mr. Michael Bauer, Judge Chris Greenland, Mr. Desmond Golding, Mr. Manaka Matumo, Mr. Victor Rambau, Mr. Chifiwa Korombi, Mr. Mcebo Kumalo, Ms. Seipati Kumalo, Dr. Tiziyambi Netengwe, Ms. Cikizwa Dingi, Ms. Louise Vale, Mr. Yasir Hafaji, Mr. Kwanele Gumbi, Mr. Jack Devna Rain, Mr. Bongumusa Makatini, Mr. Nkosana Mbukane, Mr. Michael Sess, Mr. Jim Macho, Mr. Jack Palane, Mr. Dinkwanyane Mohuba, and Ms. Leanne Govinsemi. The names of the 36 shortlisted candidates were published on the parliamentary website for a period of 5 working days in order to allow the public to submit comments, and the candidates were interviewed on 30 August, 31 August, and 1 September, with the exception of Mr. Michael Bauer, who was disqualified according to the Broadcasting Act 4 of 1999, and Mr. Yasir Hafaji, who withdrew from the process. On 5 September 2017, the committee deliberated on the interviewed candidates and recommended to the National Assembly that the following candidates be recommended for appointment to the SABC board: Mrs. Phoebe Potgieter Qubule, Mr. Krish Naidu, Ms. Kanyisile Kweyama, Mr. John Mattison, Mr. Matata Tsedu, Ms. Nomvuyiso Bachi, Ms. Rachel Kalidas, Mr. Michael Markovitz, Mr. Bongumusa Makatini, Mr. Victor Rambau, Mr. Dinkwanyane Mohuba, and Mr. Jack Palane. Thank you, Chairperson.
The report, but I think the report must reflect also the objections from the public. No, before that, I'll come to that. Must reflect the state security agents' work, even if you don't go to detail, because there are people who, in fact, there is one person who's there that was not considered because of that. I'm just throwing it so that it's part of the report, or we just, Because I think it must be recorded that there are those people who are affected by that report. Honorable Ndozi?
Chairperson, that's fine. It should say that the vetting process was done. Yeah, and then people who want the detail can always go to Hansard. But it must note the objections of, because we asked for the objections to be recorded, that's all. And then we move on. But it can't just go without those objections.
You mean the objections from some of us here?
From,
Or from the
yes.
public? Oh, I see.
Yeah, even the objections of the EFF and must be recorded.
Okay. No, that will be done, but we'll write it properly. The what? We will.
Will you?
This part of SAS, I think it's very important. We don't go to detail, but I think we must reflect it in the report, because there are people who were affected. Can we? Yes. That's what I want. That's where I want to go. I put the report. I put the report, members. Agreed. Those who object must say. Those who object must say it on record.
Thanks, Chair. Please note the objection of the Democratic Alliance, particularly to Phoebe Potgieter Gubule, Krish Naidu, Bongmusa Makatini, and Dekwanyana Muhuba. Thanks, Chair.
Those who move the adoption of the report, Honorable.
I'm moving for the adoption of the report, Honorable Chair.
Seconder?
Second,
Honorable.
Chair.
Okay, Honorable Kalako second. Any objection? Can you repeat, Honorable Van Dam?
The Democratic Alliance objects particularly to four candidates, Phoebe Potgieter Gubule, Krish Naidu, Bongmusa Makatini, and Dekwanyana Muhuba.
Okay.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Doze?
Yes, please note the objection of the EFF on Phoebe Potgieter Gubula Le and Krish Naidu on the basis that they are deployees of the ANC.
Thank you very much. Those objections will be noted. And then, do you have any objection, Honorable Madisha? Do you want to record the objection? Nothing? Quiet? Okay. Can we break for lunch and come back at 2? What time is it now? Or we can come back at 1:30. It means we're going to go to 9. Thank you very much. We break for lunch.